this point, we're sometime after 3 p.m. We don't know. Could have been 3:30, 4 o'clock. We don't know. But it's starting to get to the point where the leaders of the Jews are a little nervous. And in John's account, because Passover feast is going to be that night, they go to Pilate and demand that the 3 men on the cross be killed so their bodies can be removed, because it would be considered inappropriate to have these human bodies out on a cross on a high Sabbath. So it's not just Saturday or Sabbath, but in John's account, it's also Passover. And so the soldiers go and they break the legs of the 2 malefactors, adding that intense pain and trauma to the fact that they can no longer pull up. The muscle strength is gone, so they can't pull up on the cross and they can't lift up on their legs anymore to breathe. And with that added trauma, death would come very quickly for them. But they come to Jesus and they see that he already appears to be dead, thus driving a spear into his heart. And in John's account, out comes water and blood. And you've heard people refer to Jesus dying of a broken heart, and the symbolism of that. And then you get Joseph of Arimathea and Nicodemus in John's account coming to the cross to prepare his body for a very quick burial in Joseph's newly hewn out tomb. And then we finish this particular difficult sequence in the infinite atoning sacrifice of Jesus Christ with a phenomenon that took place in the temple at the crucifixion and the death of Christ. So we read in Matthew 27, verse 51, "And behold, the veil of the temple was rent in twain from the top to the bottom, and the earth did quake, and the rocks rent." Did you catch the significance? This is a veil that's roughly 60 feet tall. It's enormous, and it was rent or ripped from the top to the bottom.
And the veil also has, according to some accounts, depictions of the stars in the heavens. And there's all this powerful symbolism going on.
That Jesus, the great high priest, has now died and gone through the veil to the spirit world. It's as if at his death, he is parting and ripping open that veil from the top to the bottom. And keep in mind also that the veil keeps everybody out of the presence of God except for the high priest, who is allowed to go in one time per year on Yom Kippur, Day of Atonement. And now here's Jesus Christ, our great high priest, who is ripping open that separating line. He's tearing down all the barriers for people to invite all now to come into the presence of God, not just one man once a year. There are dozens of symbols that you could explore and study regarding this rending of the veil and what it might symbolize for us and for you today. But there's one that sometimes gets overlooked, and it's this idea of when a Hebrew or a Jewish father finds out about the death of a child, their immediate response would be to rip or rend their clothes. One of the potential symbols that I find very significant and very compelling with this rending of the veil is an outward sign of how Heavenly Father feels about what his Son just completed and just endured and now has died. This rending of the veil, this intense sign of agony that is shared between Father and Son in that moment, is another possible way of many ways to look at the ripping of the veil experience.